I'm Brotsky with Reach Home Loans, and today I want to help you understand the differences between working with a licensed mortgage originator or a personal mortgage banker like myself versus the big banks. And there's not that either one is better than the other, but this is more to help you understand what makes one different from the other so that you can decide what would work better for you. Everyone has different things in mind when it comes to buying a home, and what works for one person might not work for another. So let's focus on the main topics that differentiate the two, right? So first off, you have service. So what is service? Well, for one, that's the level of service being provided to you by that entity. Are you someone that works 9 to 5 and is only available outside of those time frames? If that's the case, maybe working with a big bank might not be right for you because they have banking hours, right? Your traditional 9 to 5. Where someone like myself is available around the clock based around your schedule. If a weekend works better or an evening at 8 p.m. works better for you, a lender like myself is available around your schedule and they want to make it easier for you. The salutation when you actually call that lender, first of all, you'd be getting me or the personal mortgage originator you're working with on the phone every time you call on my cell phone or their cell phone. Versus calling the bank where you're calling into a main line and they're addressing you by your loan number and you're having to reiterate the same information over and over again before they can actually pull up your file. With someone like myself, we know you by name. You call in, hey, it's Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how are you? There's no guessing who I'm speaking with. There's no trying to get the same person on the phone on our end for you every single time. We know exactly what's going on with your loan at any given time. So the personal service is a huge difference from a big bank to a personal mortgage banker. Now, 2 is going to be the expertise. That's the level of expertise that the individual you're working with has. So something that's little known is that if you work for a big bank and you're handling mortgages, you're not required to go get individual state mortgage licenses. On the other hand, someone like myself, a personal mortgage banker or a mortgage loan originator, I'm required to get licensed in every single state that I plan to conduct business. So I've gone through extra licensing, meaning I have more expertise, right? I've had to go through more studying, take more classes and tests in order to qualify to be able to provide you with financing. So expertise is key. Number 3, flexibility. Now I'm talking about flexibility when it comes to guidelines, interest rates, and costs. Now the individual you'll be speaking with at a bank most of the time is just going to quote you the interest rate and they're going to quote you the cost that they charge to every single borrower, and then they're going to follow their guidelines. Now although we as a lender have to follow specific guidelines as well, we don't have something called overlays to those guidelines. A lot of the big banks do. And what overlays are their guidelines on top of the guidelines. Something like that could be that a debt to income ratio with a big bank might be capped at 45%, where with us, we might be able to go to 50%. And that extra 5% could be the difference between someone qualifying for a mortgage or not qualifying for that mortgage. When it comes to rates, we have full flexibility. So we can meet or beat any interest rate being offered by another big bank, credit union, whatever it may be, or even another local lender. Same thing goes for costs. We have full flexibility when it comes to that for our clients. So that's a huge difference between working with a personal banker, mortgage banker, and working with a big bank. And number 4, the process itself. From the application all the way through the closing and funding of the loan, we handle all of that here. We're not outsourcing any steps of that process. And something that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of the big banks don't handle the entire process internally. They might use a third party to process the loans or for underwriting. And what happens when you do this is it tends to take the process longer because you're starting to put new people and more people in the mix who aren't as familiar with your situation. Where with us, we have the same team handling your loan from start to finish. So we know exactly what's going on with your loan from the very beginning all the way through the very end of the process. And that's why our process is typically about a quarter of the length of time as it takes for the bank to complete the same transaction. So if you're looking to work with someone who has more flexibility around your schedule, much more expertise when it comes to writing mortgages, full flexibility when it comes to the loans, interest rates, costs, and guidelines, and we'll have a streamlined process for you, then a personal mortgage banker is right for you. If you just like working with the big bank because you're comfortable, that's your prerogative. But the options are available, and now you should be educated on what makes one different from the other.